Yadavinaka, good morning. Welcome back to Breakfast at Fiji One. Tuesday morning, the 6th of April, the start of another work week and school week. Good thing it's a short week this week, coming out of a great long Easter weekend. So I hope you've had a good time to just relax and enjoy the weekends spent indoors most of the time with family and friends. And basically, it's another week of challenges that lies ahead.
That's right.
So short week this week,
short week indeed.
Don't we love short weeks?
Oh, we do. But then again, our short weeks get extended because we have to come to work. But anyway, we trust that you're having a great morning. For those of you that are heading out, we'd like to say happy birthday for those who are celebrating their birthday today. Happy birthday. Trust that a big cake will be prepared for you, if not in the weekend, okay? It's like out of the weekend into the next, But yeah, and if there are celebrations in order at home, somebody got promoted to work, you're walking into the office today, into a new workspace, then congratulations, you deserve it, and keep working and keep going and keep those goals ahead of you.
All right. Well, let's welcome our next guest, in studio this morning. And as you know, that the Global Youth Summit is coming up. We were talking a bit about it yesterday and today as well. So introduce our next guest, Muse.
This face, of course, one of the girls that are sitting here is, of course, you've seen her so many times before, Alisi Rambukawanga, and she's the IUCN Fiji Marine Project Liaison Officer. And Alisi. And also we've got Serena Pickering, and Serena is an IUCN youth volunteer. Thank you so much for coming, Serena. It's great to have you lovely ladies this morning. And of course, you're here to talk to us about the Global Youth Summit. You mentioned this is the first time ever, so tell us about the Youth Summit.
So the theme is One Nature, One Future, this Global Youth Summit, and it's really an opportunity for young people to come together and strengthen their global networks and interconnected networks. And the Global Youth Summit, there's 3 components to it. There is this virtual event that's happening, and it's from the 5th to the 16th of April. And then after that, between April and September, we will have a wider audience virtual event where the outcomes of the summit will be shared. And then on September 3rd is when we hope to have the IUCN Congress. And that's where we have global leaders and thought leaders and people coming together, and another opportunity to also share on these outcomes, connect with other young people, and talk about a lot of these issues that are coming up. And the objectives really of it are advocacy, networking, dialogue, and bringing together people on this virtual space. And and there'll also be hubs here in Fiji, for Fiji and the Pacific, and that's what our Global Youth Summit team leader for the volunteers is going to talk about. Serena is going to share more on that bit.
Well, Serena, I know that this is this is the first of the Global Summit, and you said that it's not, it was started yesterday, but of course the launch is today. What are some of the experiences that you're hoping to get from that?
For me, a lot. For me, this is a good a good platform for us to be able to raise our concerns and our voices out as young youths on what's happening around us, with the environment status and mainly the nature conservation and climate change.
Go on.
That's about it. It's just a good platform for me to be out there, and as young youths in the Pacific, we're always having that mandua sense, and for this one, in being virtual, it's a good opportunity for us to come and raise our voices and concerns on what's happening around us.
Just talk to us about the whole process of this virtual event. What actually happens when you go online and connect with other people.
Maybe I can talk about the content, and then Serena can go into what's happening for the Pacific and Fiji. So, there'll be youth-led thematic tracks, intergenerational dialogue. There'll also be body awareness sessions, just being mindful of your body, yoga, all these kind of things, and also networking opportunities. But then, you know, for the hub that we have here, there'll be more specific programs, and maybe you want to share on that.
So for the Pacific, we have managed to loop in 4 programs. And each program has a topic. So the first program will be on the 7th, which is this Wednesday, and the topic for this session will be climate change, and it's at 12:30 p.m. And the second session is on Friday the 9th, and the topic for this session is the 10th Pacific Nature Conference, which will also be at 12:30 p.m. And the third program will be, the topic will be plastics in the Pacific Islands, which is going to be held on the 13th of this month, next week Tuesday, at 12:30 p.m. And the fourth program is the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, which will be held on Thursday the 15th at 12:30 p.m. So to get yourselves involved in this program, we've got an app called the Wova app. So interested participants, they could download the app and save the agenda for the save the Global Youth Summit as their agenda, and they could navigate themselves around this app to know the programs that are happening within it. So the within this app, there's like there's a leaderboard, and there's like surveys and polls in which they could participate in. And it is interesting to see that in this leaderboard, the top 10, there's 2 Pacific youths that are part of this this leaderboard, and they are able to be a part of this leaderboard by being interactive in all these surveys and virtual events that has been happening in the build-up of this summit. In this summit, there's virtual internships that are being offered for this summit, and there's photo competitions in which we can view like images from youths are sharing from all over the world. And there's a program called in the app called the Nature Conservation and Climate Change, and it is interesting to see that there's a lot of people coming in and participating and raising their voices and concern, and like it's just interesting to see that youths are actually raising their voices and concerns on what's happening.
Serena, can I just ask, like for Fiji is part of this, what are the Pacific Island countries in this as well?
All the Pacific, all the
Wow.
Pacific.
Awesome. Yeah. There's a lot that's happening.
Yeah, there's a lot that's happening. A lot of people are actually, for me, it's really interesting to see that there's a lot of youths that are participating. So last week we had organized for a Talano session for a build-up for this summit, and we were overwhelmed with the amount of interested participants that came in, and they were actually participating. So this summit is not about presentations and like formal settling. It's just being there and just talking, talanoing, So I urge like all youths, like if they could be a part of this session, get away from that mandua and be a part of it. And we are so lucky here in Fiji that the IUCN office is able to host a hub on in which we can come together and be a part of the summit together as a
So how can our young people watching this morning, be part of this? They want to, if they're interested.
So if they're interested in it, is the IUCN Global Youth Summit page on Facebook, and they could visit the IUCN page, is the website. There's a website for the IUCN Global Youth Summit that's very accessible, and they could just navigate themselves around the site when they're in there to get to know the app and
And the Wova app is WHOVA.
Okay.
Wova. You
And
can
that
just
can
search that on the App Store.
And that's available for both Android and Apple iOS users.
Alicia, I just wanted to talk about, like Serena mentioned how our youth live in Mandua, and I guess we hold back and hesitant because we don't know enough, But after what's been happening and what we're seeing that's happening right before our eyes gives us the opportunity to step onto the platform and be a voice for especially our Pacific Island developing countries. What are some of the challenges that, going into this, and as youths, taking that step forward to talk about, climate change? This is something that's global. It's a global issue. It has been for a number of years, and of course going into the future. So what are some of the challenges that our youths will have to be aware of, or need to know that they're going to be up against?
Oh my goodness, it's always a good question. I think maybe one of the most obvious ones is COVID, and just all these restrictions, not being able to be in physical contact, not being able to meet people in person. Not so much for us, we have had the luxury of being able to meet and everything, but it's not the same in other places. And especially for young people, for us, it's nice to be together, to be present physically, to be able to share. And so I imagine that moving forward, one of the challenges is continuing to engage and be present in a virtual space, because it's very easy to just turn your camera off, mute, disappear, and just be there. Like Hasrin had mentioned, people weren't just present, they were participating. And so that's an added thing, not only just being present, but also participating in the process. And that might be just one thing that we'll have to learn to navigate.
Okay, well, ladies, we could go on and talk about this all day, but unfortunately time is not on our side. But thank you so much for coming and talking to us about the Global Summit. Of course, that's from the 5th, but the launch is today until the 16th of April. Yeah?
Yeah, it'll be nice to have you come back and update us again on what... All right, well, all the best. The launch is today. What time is that on?
Well, it's virtually a universal standard time. It's 13 to 1500 hours.
Okay.
That's 1 to 3 a.m. I believe. But we have an event this afternoon as well at IUCN.
Okay.
Well, stay with us on Breakfast. We'll be back with more. Kylie's up next with your news and weather.